Hello everyone, Jerry Tabatt with you again for another edition of our military community. We've got a very special guest with us today. We know how fast our military started to build at Tyndall, how it's going across out at the Navy base, all the civilian jobs that are coming into the area. So we need to talk about education, which is one of the more important things. Education and childcare are probably two of the most important things dealing with our military families right now. And without further ado, joining me this morning, and I'm very proud to say a friend of mine, the superintendent, Bay District Schools, Mr. Mark McQueen. Mark, welcome.
Jerry, thanks so much. Pleasure
Thanks
to
for
be
coming
here.
in today.
Thank you, sir.
We got a lot to talk about, but I want you to go ahead and tell me, first of all, what's your background? And I know it is really significant because of the military tie.
Yeah. Thank you. I started out as an Army brat. My dad was a career Army infantry aviator. Born in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, right there. He was stationed at the old guard that supports Arlington National Cemetery. Mm-hmm. And then, he moved a lot. He was an aviator and his Vietnam era, moved 16 times in 18 years.
Wow.
So very nomadic lifestyle. It was when the military had the old phrase that if the Army intended you to have a family, they would have issued it to you. And then I went to Army ROTC at Auburn University and was commissioned a second lieutenant and was privileged to serve 36 years in the United States Army, retiring as a Major General. It was awe-inspiring to see these young soldiers and what they did to defend the nation and uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. It was really a significant portion of my life, and for one I will never forget. The deployments, the sacrifice, not just of the men and women in uniform, but in particular their families, right. That I argue will carry the heaviest rucksack of all. They are the ultimate bill payers for the defense of our nation. And I couldn't be more proud of our families as they support their loved one in uniform and what they do to help strengthen our nation. It was General Odierno, who used to be the Chief of Staff of the Army, that said the strength of the nation is our Army. Right. The strength of our Army are our soldiers. Right. The strength of our soldiers are our families, and that's what makes this Army strong, and it really is.
And that's what's so important. With your military background, you moved around, you've seen different schools, you've seen different cultures, you've seen the way people react to being moved, and sometimes maybe in the middle of the school year. So let's get into this. First of all, Tyndall is rebuilding, and they are continuing to rebuild rapidly along with the Navy base. We're getting industries building. I want to know, is space going to be a problem for all of these students? And are we equipped to handle this, or do we need more schools?
Yeah. In fact, we're going through a study right now because right now we've experienced about 1,000 student increase per year over the last 3 years within the Bay District school system. And so we're working through capacity analysis right now to determine what is existing capacity, what is our ability to absorb more student capacity in existing schools. How do we shore up more capacity at existing sites, and where do we need to be building new sites? Because with somewhere arguably between 15 and 20,000 homes under construction or in the planning for construction, the development stages, we need to be a part of that. And we've got to be able to be more strategic in where we put those schools to ensure that we're meeting the needs, not only for the here and now, but into the years to come. It's a whole lot faster to build a house. I mean, you can build a house in less than 60 days in some of these developments. It takes a long time to build a school, and it's very, very costly. And so we need to be very wise in those decisions.
And a lot of this space that we're going to need is, let's face it, these military families are going to be coming in here. You're going to see more than a jump of 1,000 per year. When they finally get Tyndall up, bring in all their personnel. The Navy's building, they're going to bring in their personnel. So it's really difficult to try and get all this together, and thank goodness you guys are working on it. But one question I have, and again, based on your experience, Mark, you've been overseas, you've seen what's going on. When these students are being transferred in, say, to Tyndall, they're not going to probably be moved around in the United States. A lot of them are going to be rotating from overseas and coming in. They're going to be coming in from foreign language environments and things of this nature. Do you think that some of these students that are coming in that have been exposed, say, to Japanese, Korean, German, and haven't really had much to do, they're just now coming in, say, kindergarten and first grade, are they going to have trouble adapting to this new environment, and how will they adapt when they come into, say, the middle of April, school's already in session? How do we deal with this?
Yeah, I personally have lived that.
Yes.
You know, I moved from Germany when my dad was stationed over in Germany. I was 4 years old, and I actually spoke fluent German as a child, and then also English, obviously. But I'll tell you, we have amazing children, and what I'm seeing, we have children right now in the Bay District schools. We have 32 different languages that are represented right now. And what I'm seeing are kids are very quick to learn English. They need help, and certainly we're providing those supports and help, but they are very adaptable, particularly the younger they are. Even the middle school and certainly high school, they're still adept to learning, but it's much more malleable at the younger ages is to learn foreign languages, in this case, English for them.
Now, do you actually have teachers in the system that could say, speak the French, the German, the Japanese, Korean? Do you actually have those teachers available to help these students go from that language into the English language?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily, we do have teachers that do speak some languages, but it's more the paraprofessional or those that come alongside that have that translation capability. So the instruction still is in English, but the translator is helping to explain it, but not so much so that they become dependent upon the translator.
Right.
It's helping that young person to be able to learn what those words mean, and they're very quick and very adept to do this. I met a Ukrainian student that we have at one of our elementary schools, and she spoke no English when she came here, and she is now doing very, very well. It's only been a year and a half, and she speaks excellent English. They're very quick.
I had the opportunity to visit Highland Park and talk to some of the students over there, and it was amazing. These students, they had she spoke French when she got here, but that student body just embraced her.
Yeah.
And that's what's got to make you feel good too, that knowing that not only is it traumatic to bring these families in and put them on a base or in the community, but they're actually being accepted here.
Yeah, they're not alienated. They're absolutely embrace. People want to learn. Young people want to learn different cultures and different languages, and so it really is an enriching experience in Bay District schools when we have folks that come into the school system that have different cultures and different languages. It's really a broadening experience for all of them.
Now, we've talked a lot about our military families and the school needs. What percentage would you estimate is military dependent? And of those percentages, do we have special needs students, and do we have the facilities, the time, the teachers to deal with it?
Yeah, so according to the federal reporting system, there's roughly 4% that fill out, self-identify that they're military or military affiliated. I think it's more than that because I think a lot of young people don't take the cards home. And it's the federal impact card, and it's a manual system. This past year was the first year it went into an automated system so they could do it online. I think that will get better as we report, and it's important as we have families, military families or DODs, civilians that are affiliated with the military that self-identify, because we don't know unless they self-identify that they're connected, and we certainly want to meet their individual and unique needs. You know, that's why Bay District Schools, one of our initiatives is to become a district-wide Purple Star Bay District or Purple Star District of Distinction. Right now we have 17 of our 35 schools that are Purple Star schools of campuses, and the other 18 are working on that right now, and we'll get that in the next rotation.
And we're going to talk about that just a little bit later.
Yeah, it's all good.
But there's a lot of activities going on before school, after school. What kind of activities do you have at the school to let the students know about, say, students transferring in, students that are going to need help, students getting together and tutoring one another? How does that work? I mean, when I was in the military, I was over in Japan, and I noticed in the schools they had over there, it seems like everybody just came together and said, okay, let's help one another here. We're all in this same thing. Is the same thing going on here at BDS?
Yeah, we've got a lot of programming that goes in before school and after school. We have tutoring supports, we have extracurricular activities, we've got clubs. It's a very dynamic environment, and it starts well before the first bell rings and continues well after the last bell rings for the day.
Let's talk a little bit now about some of the things that we actually have here in the schools. Probably top of mind is ROTC. That is very prominent. It's in our schools, different branches of the military. Why is this so important that we offer this at Bay District schools? And once these students go through the program, I know Major Bass over at Rutherford does a great job. How does that help them as they go out beyond graduation from high school?
Yeah, so being a product of high school junior ROTC, I did Navy junior ROTC my 11th grade year, and I did Army ROTC my 12th grade year. And I'm very proud of the fact here in Bay District schools, every service is represented. Yes. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, and we're really proud of that. Coast Guard doesn't have that sector yet. So. And Space Force has not yet created as yet, but the Air Force teammates, they certainly are broadening that horizons. But it's so important because it helps young people that are in a very challenging time in their lives. They're trying to figure out who they are. There are self-esteem issues, there's discipline issues, there's questioning who they are and where they're going. And I think that structure of our junior ROTC program helps to create awareness and life skills for individuals, whether they go in the military or not. It doesn't.
Exactly.
It's really helping them to grow and challenge them physically, mentally, and certainly in character development. And I couldn't be more proud of all of our junior ROTC cadre that are pouring into these young people, and it's having an impact. We've just got great junior ROTC programs.
And the instructors that you have, military themselves, so they know what's going on.
That's right.
I had the opportunity to interview a couple of the ROTC students from Rutherford. And one young lady really impressed me, and that I think is what's really impressionable to a lot of our viewers right now that don't understand how important that is in molding these young men and women into a mindset that they are good. They can do anything they want to. Yes, they're going to need help, but if they depend on themselves, depend on the Lord, and get what education they need, they can do it. No one's going to do it for them, but they have to do it.
Yeah. It's setting them up for success. Those foundational skills that are life skills that they're learning in the junior ROTC program, as well as other programs, but certainly the junior ROTC program is a little bit more structured, and it has so much upside potential. It's amazing to me, and you talked about Rutherford, one young man just got accepted into the Air Force Academy, and so this is opening a horizon and a doors to these young people that they wouldn't have but for, in this particular case, junior ROTC. But I'm really proud of all of our students, whether they decide to go the collegiate route or whether they go the career and technical education route. It doesn't matter. We want to give them that foundation, and certainly the junior ROTC program is one vehicle to help make that happen.
How are the ROTC students accepted by the schools themselves, the student population?
I think it's really amazing. When I go on the campuses and you see these cadets wearing their uniforms, they stand up a little taller. They've got a little spring in their step. They've got some pride. And quite honestly, I think there's a lot of respect given by the other students that have chosen not to go that route, but they respect the decisions of those that have become future servant leaders.
And it's just amazing to watch them. So any plans to expand it maybe?
Well, we have it at every school right now, and we've covered every branch. So I think that's where we need to be in terms of having the core elements there. Certainly we have the ability to absorb more students in each of those programs so that if they choose to want to join the program. And so there's no ceiling on anything regarding our junior ROTC programs.
And one last question on ROTC before we move on, Mark. if any students watching this or parents watching this, if they want to get into the ROTC program or the parents want them in the program, how do they go about it?
Yeah, it's very simple because each of them are specific to the high schools. And so it's that high school point of contact. Each high school has their own website or has the website for the school that points them into those points of contact to the cadre to help them get in there. Their guidance counselors at the schools are also very attuned to those options that are available because it's an elective course for our students. And so this is something that they get to choose. And we're very happy that they have that choice.
Yeah, it's a great deal. You mentioned briefly, and now I want you to expand on this and talk about Purple Star schools. Why are they so significant, and what types of things are provided by these Purple Star schools that make them so special?
Yeah, so it's really intriguing. It was Brigadier General Pat Maney, who's Representative Maney from Okaloosa County, who helped to create the legislation for the state of Florida to create the Purple Star Schools of Distinction program. And I was very delighted to see that Governor DeSantis, who is very pro-military, sign that into legislation. That is a program that is designed to meet the unique needs and circumstances of our military families. You know, when families, as you alluded to earlier, they're coming in from all over the world.
Exactly.
And the first thing when they get those PCS orders, permanent change of station orders, saying they're coming to Tyndall is they want to know what the schools are like.
Exactly.
And so the whole program is, first up is to break down that barrier of communication. We have a very deliberate website capability that helps these young folks that are transferring in with families to help them make that transition, to know what the options are that are available. We reserve seats. 5% of the student capacity at each of our schools is reserved for transitioning men and women in the military with their families. And we also have additional training for all of our teachers and our administrators to the unique challenges that military students, family members face. And it's really reaching their unique needs. And it's all encompassing, and I couldn't be more proud that, like I said earlier, 17 of our 35, the other 18, we're striving to get that designation. But when I say 17, there's only 200 in the entire state that are designated schools, not high schools, schools. And there's several thousand in the state. And so there's only 200 have been designated, and we have almost 10% of that here in Bay County.
And that's what's so super. And the latest recipient, and I know you're proud as a peacock about this, Rutherford. Tell us about that award.
Yeah, so it was really a delight. The Lieutenant Governor came to town and presented that Purple Star School of Distinction designation to Rutherford. Rutherford is an incredible school. It has the International Baccalaureate program, it has the Air Force Junior ROTC program, and the commitment of our administration, Dr. Mitchell and his entire staff, is unparalleled. And we are so thrilled that Rutherford has that designation, and they're going to soar to great heights.
It's pretty good. You know, only 200 schools, and we got one right here in Bay County. That's just down the road a little piece from us.
That's right.
One thing, Mark, that as military families come into this area specifically, and again, you have the experience so you can deal with this, there's two things that they're concerned with. When the military member gets orders to come here, he worries about two things. Where am I going to live? And child care. That's two of the biggest things right there. What is Bay District Schools able to do? Can they provide insight, relief, telling people where to go and that to get this housing that they need, and also the child care? Because there's a lot of misconception out there that, who cares? You know, you guys are in the military. The military pays for everything. It doesn't. It only pays for a certain percentage. And with child care as expensive as it is today, and with rent and mortgages expensive as they are today, they come in here starting out in a hole. How do we help them?
Yeah, so it is a challenge, and I have to tell you, we are so grateful to Colonel Watkins and Commander Mosey and what they are doing, and just bold leadership for support of their airmen and sailors. And so, you know, as far as housing, we don't get into the housing business. That is, Tyndall does that. They have an entire mechanism to help make housing awareness options available to incoming airmen or sailors, as the case may be. With regard to childcare, that is an initiative. Certainly, the Bay County Chamber is taking that on
Yes,
as a
we are.
primary objective because it is a hindrance to employment. It is costly and expensive. For me, as the superintendent of Bay District Schools, we have Bay Base, which allows for extended opportunities for children to stay on campus, and they have an organized program that helps those students until the parent comes to pick them up. So it's a sort of daycare, child care like. Certainly the military installations had the youth centers on there, and we provide transportation to those from the schools to the youth centers to help facilitate that for our family members that are in the military. And then separately, we're working in that domain of 0 to 5 years old.
Right.
That is a key space. 80% of brain development takes place in that era of time for a young person. And so, helping to partner with daycares, helping to offer training opportunities for their daycare workers that may be helpful to them in how to teach children in that space to make our daycares better equipped and prepared. Not that they're not doing all they can, but if we can partner with them, why not? And that's what we're striving to accomplish.
And that's what's so good about the whole thing is because, like I said, you have the experience in the background. You know about all of this because you actually experienced it yourself. One question I'd get from a lot of people is, now that Tyndall is rebuilding rapidly, I mean, it's a mess out there, but it's going to be nice when it's all done and everything. They have a lot of questions about the school at Tyndall. I know I had a son that went there back in the early 80s, and it was a great little school. Since the hurricane and everything, it really ripped that school apart too. What is the status now at Tyndall?
Yeah, so two parts to that. Well, number one, the temporary status where we are right now. We brought in 32 portable classrooms to help accommodate the growth and demand of our Tyndall military. It was a significant investment of the district, roughly $15 million, to help facilitate this while they're in this point of transition. Secondly, we've partnered with Tyndall and the leadership there to go through the process of identifying a new site. The existing site is no longer viable for a new school to be built on. So we're already going through the environmental assessment on that process in conjunction with Tyndall. We anticipate the final reports being due to San Antonio, which is the higher headquarters for Installation Command, and that is going to take place in April. And then it's however that process goes. We're poised and ready. We're going to be building an incredible Tyndall Academy, but the key is that it has to have unfettered access.
Yes.
All right, and I'm so delighted that Colonel Watkins and his team are understanding that and they're embracing that ideology because it's going to be public taxpayer dollars building this new facility. And a K-8 means that you're going to have people coming into that with extracurricular activities, sporting events, that kind of stuff, middle school sporting events that are not DOD, they're not normally on a military installation, but they need to come onto that school campus to be able to participate with their son and daughter that may be coming in from another school. So I'm very delighted that we're moving in that direction, and I'm absolutely confident that we can work out the putting the ink on paper to make sure it all works out. But there is no wavering in the commitment to support Tyndall and providing a K-8 facility with unfettered access.
That is good to hear, so I hope everybody puts your minds at rest a little bit. Before we run out of time here, Mark, I want to get to one other thing. This is kind of unique. Bay District Schools, if you've never gone to their website, you need to go and visit their website because they have got a section that's strictly devoted to the military. And you don't see that very often. I've got some things here that I want to talk to you about. One of the things that's on there is your registration open enrollment information for military families. It deals with school choice, out-of-county enrollment, kindergarten registration, parent portal. Explain all of that to us.
So again, in this day and time where you have military members coming in from all over the world, they want to know what's going on in their local education opportunities. And so we're breaking down that barrier. It's one-stop shopping, if you will, so they can understand all of the different options that are available to them and make it easier for that transition. I mean, there's enough stress in people's lives when they're moving. If we can help de-escalate some of that stress by helping to solve an education question.
Yeah.
Why not do that?
Why
And,
not?
and I'm so delighted that we have it not only for the Bay District School website, but each of our Purple Star schools of distinction have a sub website that supports it, so that that particular school has their own Purple Star website.
And that parent portal is great. I mean,
great.
if you haven't visited parents, go ahead and do that. Moving on to one other thing it's really in the forefront of a lot of people, and that's special needs. I mean, you've got all kinds of things listed here: ADHD, Operation Autism, PAVE, rights law, exceptional students. There's a lot there too, and we do have special needs students in. Was this website specifically designed to help these special needs students?
Yeah, so roughly 30% of the Bay District school population has an ESE designation of some sort, exceptional student that has a unique need. It may be severe and profound. It may be a learning disability. It could be the full gamut. It may be a behavior thing. But we have a full gamut, and what we want to do is meet the needs of that student.
Right.
To help them to learn. At the end of the day, we're striving to get them the education that they need at grade level to be ideally an educated citizen when they graduate, right? And somebody asked me, they said, hey, what do you really care? You're just in the service industry. I said, no, we're not. We're in the manufacturing industry. We're manufacturing and producing future educated citizens that will be in this community, in this state, in this nation, or in the world. And they're going to have an enriched life because of the quality of education they get here at Bay District Schools.
What's the McKay Scholarship?
The McKay Scholarship?
Yeah, that's one of the things listed under special needs.
For the special needs program.
Yeah.
So what we have are scholarship opportunities to help meet those unique needs of parents that don't have means to be able to help their students, and we're really delighted to be able to offer that.
And we want to get to one more quick thing here. It's called transition planning. What is that?
As opposed to transition planning.
Yeah.
And so there's so many things that go on in people's lives, and so we're really trying to help meet people where they are, and we're really delighted that we can provide these services to our students regardless of their needs.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing, all the things, and I encourage everybody to go to that website because there's so many things on there, and there's individuals that you also have where they can call and get any information that they want. We're down to 3 minutes, Mark, and I know you have a lot of things that you want to talk about the future. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to talk about what's your vision for the future of Bay District schools encompassing all of this military influx, all of this civilian influx coming in. What's your vision?
Well, here in Bay District Schools, we want to put the A back in Bay. We want to have every one of our schools be an A school. And we're moving in that direction. When I took over in August, we were 35th in the state. Now we're number 29. We're moving in the right direction. Our grades just came out with regard to graduation rates. We had the highest graduation rate in the history of Bay District schools with testing. And so very proud of that. It's 88.7%, which exceeded the state average. So we're moving in that direction. We want to extend career and technical education not just at Haney and at the high school level, but we want to push it all the way down to the 4th grade level, which is going to be having pathways for young people, whether they want to go aerospace, engineering routes, or they want to go the medical route, or they want to go construction technology, culinary arts. We want to or FFA programs. It doesn't matter. We're going to have CTE opportunities for our young people. And then we just talked about special needs. One of the things I want to do is create a new center for our Margaret K. Lewis, which is our most profound and severely disabled students, and they have unique needs, and we need to better meet those needs. Right now they're in an old facility, an old school, designed for 600 students. We have 175 special needs students there right now, but when you have all the equipment that they have and the paraphernalia that they have to support them, it gets full pretty quickly. And so we want to put a Margaret K. Lewis 2.0, highly technical, technology-laden, AI-laden, so that we can help our students. So that's another initiative. And then lastly, as we talked about a few moments ago, is I really want to get in that space of 0 to 5 years old and change the outcome.
A lot of things we talked about today, Mark. You filled in a lot of blanks for us, and it's going to make our military transition into this community a whole lot easier, along with all of our civilian influx, and put a lot of things in people's mind at ease. I want to thank you for coming in today.
Thanks, my
Appreciate
friend.
it.
Appreciate all you do.
And keep up the good work.
Thanks for supporting our military.
It's dear to my heart as an old Air Force retiree. We're out of time again for this edition of our military community. Again, YouTube playlist, Gulf Coast State College, and you'll have this interview available. And if you have any questions about Bay District Schools, be sure to call the Bay District Schools office or go ahead and go onto their website, and they'll have all the information you need. They'll put a lot of questions you have at rest. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again today. I'm Jerry Tabatt. We'll see you again next week on another edition of our military community. Have a good day.